All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into procrastination. You know, that frustrating habit of avoiding the very things we know we need to do. We're going to unpack the surprising science behind why our brains do this, and more importantly, how to finally break that cycle.
Let's kick things off with this quote, because it just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's that crazy-making feeling of having a goal, wanting to do it, but you just can't make yourself start.
Yeah, if you're nodding along right now, you are definitely in the right place. And here's the good news. Procrastination isn't some kind of character flaw, it's actually a complex cycle. And to break it, first, we have to understand how it really works.
So first things first, we've got to understand what we're actually up against. See, it's not just delaying something once. It's a self-perpetuating loop that so many of us get trapped in. Here's how this vicious cycle plays out. You've got a task that feels uncomfortable, so you put it off and do something fun instead. And for a second, you feel this little wave of relief. But that relief disappears fast, and it's replaced by guilt, and you start beating yourself up. That makes you feel even worse, which makes the original task seem even bigger and scarier, and so the loop just keeps on going. But why? Why do we get stuck in this loop in the first place? Well, to understand that, we need to meet a part of our brain that's often running the show. The source material has a great name for it, the monkey brain. So think of it like this. There's a little monkey living in your brain, and this monkey isn't worried about your long-term goals, your career, or your health. Nope, it is driven by one single, incredibly powerful instinct. That's it. That is the monkey's only rule. It's all about maximizing pleasure and avoiding discomfort right now. It has zero concept of the future, it just wants to feel good in this exact moment. And this is where it all comes together. Procrastination is basically a battle happening inside your head. Your rational self knows you should be studying or working on that project, but the monkey's screaming, "No way, that's boring. Let's watch TV or scroll social media." When you procrastinate, it just means the monkey is winning that battle. Okay, so if we're in a fight with this instant gratification monkey, how in the world do we win? Well, it all comes down to understanding why that first step feels so impossible. Because, funnily enough, that's where we find both the problem and the cure. And get this isn't just a metaphor. It's a real physical response. Brain imaging studies have shown that when you just think about doing a task you dread, the pain centers in your brain can literally light up, as if you're feeling actual physical discomfort. But here is the absolute game changer. The pain isn't in the doing of the task, it's all in the anticipation. The moment those same people in the study actually started working on the math problems, poof, the pain signal in their brain just vanished. And that right there, that is the great paradox of procrastination. The hardest part is pushing through that initial wall of resistance. The second you begin, the discomfort disappears. Once you're in motion, you realize it's not so bad, and you start to build some positive momentum. All right, so now that we know the why, let's get into the how. Here are 3 super practical tools you can use to trick that monkey brain and just get started. Tool number 1 is the 2-minute rule from productivity expert David Allen. The idea is simple. If a task pops into your head that will take less than 2 minutes, just do it immediately. Don't even think about it. This builds the habit of starting and finishing, and it starts rewiring your brain to just get things done. Okay, tool number 2, lower your standards. Seriously, we often get paralyzed because our goals feel too big. So instead of trying to meditate for 20 minutes, just aim for 1 minute. Instead of a 45-minute workout, just do 5 push-ups. Make the task so ridiculously easy that the monkey can't come up with an excuse to say no. And tool number 3 is all about focusing on the process, not the outcome. Thinking about writing a whole book is terrifying, but just sitting down to write for 20 minutes, you can do that. So forget the huge final goal. Just set a timer for a short, manageable chunk of time and focus only on putting in the work. So you've got some tools, but let's be real. You're gonna slip up. We all do. What happens then? Well, this final piece of the puzzle might just be the most important part of this whole explainer. To understand this, let's look at one really powerful study from Carleton University. They tracked students who procrastinated on their exams for a whole semester. And what they found was fascinating. The students who were hardest on themselves, the ones who really beat themselves up for procrastinating on the first exam, they were the ones who were more likely to procrastinate even longer on the next one. It totally backfired. And here's why. Self-criticism just creates more stress and fear of failure.
You're basically feeding the monkey more negative feelings to run away from. But self-compassion, actually forgiving yourself for slipping up, that reduces the negativity. It lets you break out of that pain loop and get back to work way faster. Forgiveness, not guilt, is what really fuels motivation.
So the big takeaway here isn't to feel more guilty about procrastinating. It's the opposite. It's knowing that the real pain is just in the anticipation, and that the secret is always just to start small. So with that in mind, I'll leave you with this question. What's one small thing you can start in the next 2 minutes?